is the front bar for Hahn. How good? Tonight's next guest, his career in footy at this level started nearly 40 years ago. Hard to believe. Tough and courageous footballer. Genius, innovator as a coach. He takes his team into their centenary celebrations tomorrow night. Always a privilege to have him on the show. Please make him welcome. Alastair Clarkson, everybody.
Well done, mate.
Thanks for coming on, mate. Huge night, obviously. Centenary, only get to do this once.
Congratulations.
So we wish you all the very best tomorrow night. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, exciting time for the club.
Tell us, we're going to have a look at some of the great moments, and there's so many. We could run this for hours. I mean, you've had a long relationship with the footy club. Tell us about the North Melbourne that you know.
Well, the North Melbourne I knew was when I was a kid, 8 years of age. I went to the 1977 Drawn Grand Final,
Yeah.
my first ever VFL game as it was back then. I came down with a great mate of mine, Oscar, and a couple of his guru mates. And I went to the North Melbourne Sunday morning drink up.
Yeah, right.
And Sass Williams, one of the blokes that came down from Kenai with us, he won in a raffle a North Melbourne footy. And I was only 7 or 8 years of age, so they all got on the Terps, and I was out thinking I was Malcolm Blight out on Arden Street kicking goals with this little footy we won on the raffle. So there's some special memories of North, but that was my first one, my first connection to the footy club.
Hold on, did you get to go to the replay and see them win?
No, it was a long way from Kenai, mate. They come down with a special trip. It was the first time I'd ever been to Melbourne.
So is it, I mean, you've been all over, you've VFL, South Australia, several VFL, AFL clubs. Does it have something genuinely unique about it, North?
Well, I think it's a blue collar area, blue collar club. Hawthorn a little bit the same, and that was, you come from traditional back blocks of Melbourne, these suburban clubs,
Yep.
Arden Street, Vic Park, Windy Hill, all these, Western Oval, just special places to be. And I think all the clubs out of Melbourne had that sort of real rustic sort of feel about them, and that's what we grew up with in footy in Victoria.
Yep.
We saw that package. We saw a very famous goal after the siren from Malcolm Blight, which is one of the most famous moments.
Of course it is.
There's one to me that is underrated, and it's another goal after the siren, and it was you in your very first game for North Melbourne. Have a look at this. A young kid, number 57 on his back, lines up afterwards to win a game of football.
Siren sounded. You're 4 points down, I reckon, at this stage.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Well, my career didn't really kick off after that.
There we go. That's a big moment.
It's unbelievable.
Alastair, can you look at all your teammates running up and yelling out, "Well done, number 57." Look, that must have been that's a good moment, mate.
Yeah, well, there was 3 of us that debuted that day: Craig Scholl, myself, and Robbie Kerr. And Scholl had 51 on his back, I had 57, and Curry had 59. So,
as you were going back to take the kick, what's the technical term? Were you shitting yourself? A young kid, first game?
Yeah, I reckon you would when you're 25, 26, a little bit later in your career. As a kid, you just go back and kick it. You never think about it, yeah.
Todd Viney's probably going to be sitting alongside you tomorrow night, and he was playing in that game for Melbourne. So the footy journey, it brings people together, doesn't it? I mean, you were a really tough and courageous player when you came down. You started as a teenager, and there's some really good players in this North Melbourne team that you're part of. Can you remember it taking long? Do you feel comfortable at the level?
Well, I battled a bit because I didn't have much pace. Look at the fat little ass running around there.
This is a good finish here, Clarko.
Yeah, one of the after that first goal I kicked, there weren't too many after that, so I was happy to kick that one.
You were tough.
These last
You're really tough on the game.
We want to point this one out. This is Gary Ablett Senior coming and getting you here, mate. Jeez, mate.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
The umpire, you could do that back in that day.
Yes, you could.
And not get a free kick. But the umpire thing felt sorry for me. I had every ounce of wind. I was just breathing out for about a minute.
Did you know he was coming?
Yeah, I knew he was coming. It's just one of those ones where you just had to cop it.
Look at that.
A lot of
Welcome to the big leagues.
A lot of the blokes you coached, Alastair, wouldn't know that you even. It's a long time ago. How would you describe yourself as a player?
Pretty rugged, I reckon.
Rugged.
Pretty rugged.
You played how many games?
93 for North?
Yeah, 93 for North.
Yep.
Then I moved to Melbourne. Actually, not too long after that, we played the first game of the year when I was at Melbourne against the Cats, and Gary Ablett came running out from full forward, head down, picking up a ground ball and get this bastard back.
So you tried?
I tried. I lined him up, but he had his head over the ball, and at the last minute, he was just a freak. He picked the ball up, and he was just built like this, and he turned around, and I just pinged off his back into the fence. He turned around, left foot snap from the boundary on the member side at City End. If you'd have kicked the goal, it'd been goal in the century. Thank Christ, it just bounced to the left of the post.
What did blokes say? He was the dense, like he had speed and power, but he was dense, like he was...
Well, I hit him twice in 18 months, or he hit me twice in 18 months, and I was just like a mosquito to him. But, oh, gee, he was like a freight train to me.
Yep.
Sounds like he was scared of you. Al, your first year at North as a player, you had the great John Kennedy as your coach. Now, he's a revered figure and...
Not a fashion plate.
No.
But a revered figure.
Yeah. What did you learn from John Kennedy?
Well, I can remember one of my first training sessions, about this time of the year with Kango. It was my first year there. And it was, like, back then the grounds were not too flash. So this time of the year, whether it was Princess Park or Arden Street where we trained, not too many braids of glass on it by that time of the season. Kanga forgot his footy boots. So he's rocked out in the beautiful North tracksuit, Qantas tracksuit, bare feet. Bare feet, and took us for a 2-hour session just in his bare feet, just mud squelching through his toes. That was the type of bloke that he was, you know. Like, I remember games of footy. I remember playing the SCG when just a quagmire, and also you know, the old Princess Park, not a blade of grass on the ground.
Yeah.
And King would get us to roll in the mud before the siren even started to start the game. You're rolling in the mud like you're kids. So you're gonna have to get wet. You know, you're just a little bit apprehensive about getting dirty and all that sort of stuff. You might as well start it off, and then you'll have an advantage over your opponent on the first contest.
What an innovator he was, eh?
Well, considered one of the great coaches of all time, and you were under him, and you've gone on to be one of the great coaches of the modern era. You must have learned something. Well, let's have a look at you in your early days when you had that real anger and that real edge. We know the moment. Bang! You took it seriously, and
you see, that was Xavier Ellis in the.
Have a look, and here you are later. Boogada, 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 boogada.
You've mellowed.
You've really mellowed, I think, over the years.
Well, I was just checking
that
because I had that terrible experience. I thought when I did that against Collingwood, it was a concrete wall, and actually it wasn't. It was plaster. And so I was still sort of better check that one. Check that one in Bunbury just to make sure it wasn't plaster. It did turn out that was plaster as well.
Clarko, it's a joy to have greats of the game like you on our program always, but we are a show for the fans, and we like to honour the fans, and it's time to honour another great supporter of our game as we add another name to the Huey Hall of Fans.
And Clarko, in honour of 100 years for North Melbourne, we thought we'd honour one of the greatest fans ever to support your famous club as we induct into the Huey Hall of Fame, Elephant Lady.
Well done, Elephant Lady.
Now,
Elephant Lady.
back at the time, you'll remember this, Clarko, she was not Elephant Lady, she was Elephant Girl, an 11-year-old girl who someone thought it'd be a great idea to pop onto the back of the elephant, known as part of the Big Five in Africa, and who knew that an elephant would get spooked and take off during a lap of honour? Watch the policeman here do a runner as they... Whoa!
Now, can we just point out too, that was back in the day when it was absolutely fine to pop an 8-year-old on a rampaging elephant. And things have changed.
Do you remember this moment?
I remember actually, and I've heard the story since because I think Sam Kekovich was actually involved in that somehow. It was the start of his being a marketing guru, Big Sammy. And Barry Cheatley was behind it as well. They're just trying to, get a bit of...
Jazz it up.
Jazz up.
I've got an idea. Let's get an elephant and pop a little girl on it. and spook it during a lap of honour.
Well,
could go wrong?
Elephant Lady now, Elephant Girl there. She goes on the Huey Hall of Fans board and she's been good enough to join us on the eve of North Melbourne Centenary game in the studio. Please make her very, very welcome. Elephant Girl, Elephant Lady, Sally Woods, everybody. Sally. Oh, that is magnificent.
What are your memories of the day, Sally?
Pardon?
What's your memories of the day?
Oh, just getting on this elephant and it ran amok and...
Where was your mum? Was your mum there that day?
Yeah, she
Who
was in the
agreed to
social
that?
club.
She was in the social club? Did she see
Mum.
it? Did she see it?
Sorry?
Did she see you on the elephant?
Yeah, she was disgusted that someone put their child on an elephant.
And then she realised it was you.
Yeah.
Sally, were you ever, afraid? Was there a moment when you can remember thinking, geez, what have I done here?
No, I was 8. No fear.
Clarko, if Jen Watt or somebody at the footy club came to you right now, your media manager, and said, listen, quarter time, we're thinking about running an elephant out. It's a bit of fan engagement before the game. We just want to seek your view. What might you say to them?
Well, no, I think there's been some funny things. There was a pig that was let loose on the SCG.
wasn't there?
So we got some good stories.
You reckon the SCG was damaged after a Bocelli concert? You reckon Arden Street was going after they've let an elephant go for a
I
rampage?
just want to go back to Sally only because whenever I go, the graphic comes up that just says Elephant Lady. We decided not to go. We're not going with Sally. We're just going with Elephant Lady. Is that right?
Here we are.
Sally, would you let your daughter...
That's just insane.
It's on a bald guy's head. He's made a cameo over there.
It is.
Would you let your 8-year-old daughter get on an elephant?
Yeah, probably.
Well, we've got an elephant here tonight, and let's bring it in from the... Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being part of that.
Footy club's about the home and the people that fill it up. Arden Street's become such an important symbol of this footy club, and some of these faces you've seen here, Judy Francis and the famous soup that she dished.
It's a soup kitchen.
Well, but it was, and this was part of North Melbourne in the 70s, 80s, while Jude was doing it.
Even the Salvation Army said we've seen nothing like this.
Alastair Clarkson, our special guest.
There were there were kids in Africa sponsoring North Players. That's how bad it was back
That was lean times.
It was unbelievable.
Once the players were done,
Homeless people were donating.
If you're lucky enough to be down there covering the footy club and all the players had gone through and there was a bit of bread left and a bit of soup, Jude made sure you got some.
She was a ripper, Judy Francis.
Yeah.
Jeannie looked after all our washing and made our meals and that sort of stuff, and Jude looked after the club houses for all the lads that came down from the bush. There was about 30 each year that came down from different parts of the country, and particularly our zone up around the Ovens and Murray, and Jude, every North player for 10, 20, 30 years knew who Judy Francis was.
So do you want the current crop, the boys who are going to run out tomorrow night, have they learnt about these people who were such an integral part of the past?
Yeah, mainly because it's our 100th year this year. We've been on this theme for the whole of the year, really, rather than just leave it to the week leading up to the game. And we've learned, especially our young players, learned a lot about the history of the footy club, because we had some pretty dark and lean times for all the clubs. The Dogs, Hawthorn, and North that came in 25. They're pretty lean years for the first 20, 30 years.
Yep.
So that's a really, really important part of the fabric of your footy club and where you've come from, and the school of hard knocks. Then those three clubs had them.
Yep. Any idea what you've asked Dennis to address the group tomorrow night, the 40 and the group, the past players, and he was one of your coaches, of course. Any idea what the message from Dennis Pagan might be?
No, and I don't really want to know what it is either. I don't want to spoil it. It's going to be his moment. There's no better person right at the current time for the history of the club to speak about our club and what it means to him and what it means to so many people of his era. So he and Greg Miller are the two guys that I had an association with that I couldn't think of better guys to be able to represent the club, and Greg's overseas in Spain at the minute with his young fella, but Dennis will play a great role tomorrow night.
He was in Spain. That's classic North Melbourne.
Well, it's surprised you haven't sold a game to try to sell a game. It's funny. You've been the great. You have been the great. No, and I say that with great respect because you have been the great innovators. I mean, Friday night footy was yours, and Tassie, of course, and you've gone to Bunbury this year. Back-to-back games over in the West. How did you find? You nearly went 2-0. You probably should have. Really, you did everything but win that game against Fremantle.
Yeah.
How did you find that experience this year?
Well, good, and I think you're right about the club being pretty innovative. You know, it goes back to the Ron Joseph era and, Alan Aylett. Ron Joseph was a great John F. Kennedy fan.
Right.
And that inspiration of that era, the 60s and 70s went from conservatism to let's get ourselves out there in a whole heap of ways. When John F. Kennedy says in the 60s that we can put a man on the moon, I think it was pretty much that, OK, we're a cellar-dweller footy club, but we can get ourselves a premiership. And, in a different sort of way, the North took advantage of free agency, which was there just for the 12 months, but got Rantel and Wade and Barry Davis was their first premiership captain. So, and then that era, like Alan Aylett, Albert Mantello, Ronnie Joseph, Barry Cheatley, they just created this this aura around the club that if you really want to achieve something, you can do it. And I think that was on the basis that the 60s and 70s were seen right around the world. If you want to get off your backside and work for something, you can do it. And that's what they went and got Barassi. Pretty special effort by the club to pull him out of retirement more or less and get him to come and coach the club, and he becomes your first premiership coach, and you got this beautiful mixture of recruiting guys from interstate, Blighty and Cabes and Graham Melrose, these sorts of guys, and then you mix them with the Gregs and the Schimmelbushes and the Arnold Brightuses, all local talent, and then you get a couple of stalwarts from other clubs in that 10-year rule. Creates North Melbourne's first premiership. A really special story.
Mate, so you're taking your club to Western Australia there for a couple of weeks. I don't know if did you turn into tourists? Did you get a chance to head out to
get out in Bunbury?
Yeah, to Bunbury the Ferguson Valley and Gnomesville is a place that I bring it up.
That's an actual place.
That is a place in the Ferguson Valley, and I only show this because
oh no.
Well, a couple of weeks ago on this show...
Don't do this.
No, Mick said that you definitely got to Gnomesville, and he showed this photo as proof. He showed this photo as proof, and I want to...
I'll sue you.
No, I want to, on behalf of me and Murray, I just want to distance myself from that sort of stuff. That's just childish stuff.
Listen, if you my little hometown Caniva, halfway between here and Adelaide, if the third house on the left, there's a statue of me. That's a little garden gnome.
Well, I'll tell you what, you weren't the only gnome I found out there, Clarko. There was a couple of other Sam. Sam was out there as well. And I wouldn't be laughing if I was you, Andy, because I saw one of you.
I'm happy with that, by the way.
That's pretty good. I look
says that you as a young man.
All right, you silly little gnomes you are.
Well, it's a bit rich coming from you, considering you had one there as well. Look at that.
That's
Gnomesville.
I think of the Seven Dwarfs, that's horny. There was sleepy, there was grumpy. I think that's horny.
Right. Do you?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I do. Let's crack on.
Hey, Clarko, you come on a good night. It is the return of Sam's Trip Tray.
Come on a good night.
Good night.
Did you see that? He's already checking to see how long this has to go. You're a disgrace.
Let's get into it.
Clarko, it's a very big thrill for me. You've never been drip trade, have you?
Did you do it last time?
No, you know how it works, don't you? I asked them, because, so we don't get time to find... This is a chance to find out more about you. So, sharp, punchy answers. You can pass if you want. Doesn't matter. OK? Toughest opponent, playing opponent.
Oh, gee. Sean White, the old Irishman.
Oh, yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
Great player.
Good.
Hard.
Yeah.
He was bigger, stronger, quicker. Everything about him was better than me.
He doesn't sound like a great matchup for you. I'm not going to lie. Who's your toughest opponent in the coach's box ever?
Oh, geez. I'd have to say Chris Scott. Yeah, they knocked us off too many times in that Kennett Kersey era.
There you go.
Favourite Hawk premiership team? You did 4 of them. Give me one.
Favourite Hawk premiership? Probably 2014. Had to cope with a hell of a lot of adversity. and we ended up saluting, which that was pretty special.
Succession plans, do you think they're a good idea?
It didn't work.
Just
Didn't work
asking.
too well for the Hawkers, that one.
No, just in general.
Oh,
Isn't it?
just
Don't
generally
worry.
speaking,
Okay. If you,
I think we should bring one in for drip tray, to be honest.
would you rather punch a wall or Jeff Kennett? Who would you rather? Don't answer that. Mate. That's just silly. That's just silly.
I was just about to give you something.
All right.
I think he was about to answer that.
I'd probably prefer to punch Jeff.
Watch out.
Thank you, Murray. All right, that's enough footy. Let's find a little bit about the man.
The man.
All right?
Yes.
First car.
Suzuki Mighty Boy. Does anyone know what a Suzuki
Mighty boy.
What's
What's
a
a
little ute?
Yeah, not too much bigger than a Tonka truck.
It was
Tiny.
It was like, was it a coupe?
It's a little ute.
Your little ute.
Yeah,
Little ute.
tiny.
Just fit the esky in the back.
Wow.
But yeah, I just needed a car to get from A to B, and the boys used to love coming with me to the airport because we didn't have to pay. We'd just go between the...
That's great.
That is great.
All right, favourite television show growing up?
TV show growing up, I used to love the Flintstones when I was a kid.
The Flintstones.
The Flintstones.
Flintstones.
Is it?
Fred
A little bit of Barney Rubble about
Barney?
you.
Barney and Battle.
I'll just say it too. I reckon Wilma was hot.
I was a betting man.
I was on the Betty.
I'm just saying.
Give us a call. Were you a Betty or a Wilma man?
There you go. Clarko just found out he's a brunette man. Hey, what about first concert?
First concert was very, very special. Showgrounds 1985, Born in the USA tour.
That is elite.
What a
That's a
great
good one.
concert.
That's
Great
strong.
concert.
What about...
First time I ever sniffed marijuana that night too. There was a bit going on at the showgrounds. Very young 16-year-old.
And as long as you don't exhale, I don't think there's a problem. What about favourite musical?
Favourite musical? I just went to one recently. Did you hear about this?
Well, it's funny you mention it.
Footloose.
I was at the musical Footloose last night, would you believe? Doing a bit of dancing in the aisles. I was with the Dale.
What was going on there?
Well, I was actually preparing for a couple of frostier questions and that in that particular press conference, and I thought I'd let go of the Footloose as just a diversion.
What was it like?
Just a diversion.
Was it any good?
Bit scratchy.
What's your favourite song from Footloose?
Footloose.
Yeah, thank you. That was a stupid...
Is there another one?
No,
Drip tray
that was a
is
stupid question.
That was a stupid question.
Yeah. All right, they're not all gold.
You got two more.
I'll have 4 more.
What's your favourite musical?
What?
What's your favourite musical?
Mine? I was a Grease man, I think. You?
Johnny Zuko. I'm not
Danny Zuko.
Danny Zuko.
Johnny Zuko.
Joseph in his Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah? I always thought you'd been a West Side Story man.
No.
No? Okay.
What about you, Mick?
Oklahoma for me.
You're an idiot. Favourite food?
Favourite food? Bananas.
Stop the clock.
What do you mean that's your favourite food?
Yeah, it was.
So if you're being executed in the morning, right, and they go, Clarko, you've got one last meal, you're going to go, give me a nana. Is that what you're doing?
Banana on toast in the mornings, and then banana on your ice cream's good.
Beautiful.
Banana smoothie. Happy with banana smoothie.
Banana fritter.
Banana fritter.
Yeah. Strong.
Hey, I'm not denying it's a versatile food. I'm just saying it's the idea that that's your favourite food. Okay.
One last question.
2 last questions. Favourite colour?
Favourite colour? Well, I feel like banana's got to be yellow.
Yellow. There it is.
Good answer, that one. Favourite colour never leaves me anywhere to go after that. You know that? All right, last one.
What's a bad answer?
Favourite vegetable?
What would be a bad answer for favourite colour?
Stick around after the break. Favourite vegetable to finish? Peas?
Peace.
No, Keith Gregg said that
He did.
a couple of weeks
He
ago.
did.
How do you have them?
Keith Gregg.
Did he?
Yeah. He's just copying Keith
I'll
Gregg
see
now.
Greggy tomorrow night.
How do you have them?
I don't mind them raw.
Well, that's insane.
Nice.
You can't have raw peas.
Is that
We're
it?
celebrating 100 years in North Melbourne and you're asking us about peas.
Sorry, Clarko, you lost me. Anyway, that was
Hey!
Drip Tray.
I think You've been telling everybody who wants to listen to you that it's coming, that it's building, and we're excited about what this team is starting to take shape and look like. You're going to have little blips like you did last week, but we can all see it. So we're excited about what's to come. Tomorrow night's obviously a really special night. We've already had a look at the jumper. And
yeah, great jumper, this one.
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
Worn in our first 8 or 10 years in the competition, so pretty special that the boys get to run out into tomorrow night. And they've just paid tribute to all those that have gone before them.
Look at the hat. Look at the hat.
Yeah,
the hat's...
look at that.
It's got the Arden Street elephant on it.
The elephant's on the hat. So go to nmfc.com.au.
Clarko.
On your Clarko.
Clarko like bananas and peas on.
Hey, good luck tomorrow night. Thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Alastair Clarkson, our very special guest. Don't go anywhere. On the other side of the break, Mixed Multi up next.